国际组织、全球工商界110多位嘉宾齐聚中国发展高层论坛2024年年会，对话关注持续发展的中国，搭建中国和世界对话的桥梁。他们如何感知扩大开放的中国？
It's the second business of Schneider. On China in itself, it is 30% of the world industrial value chain.
People require quick updates, if possible monthly or quarterly, and that is very good to do with the Chinese partner.
Rio is really a long-term company. Chinese leaders also think very long-term. We learn from each other.
新的产业革命将帶來哪些新機遇？
人工智能和能源能效没有矛盾。2% for the digital and probably 20% of energy savings.
Because with the current technology, we only go picture by picture by picture and analyze always everything which is on the picture. And with this large language model technology, we can do a complete different approach.
China very systematically are addressing climate change, so that's most encouraging.
对话播出，敬请关注。
各位好，欢迎收看《对话》，聚制药喝摘要，对话由赤水河上游贵州金沙高端酱酒摘要酒独家冠名播出，由做一条好轮胎的赛伦集团特别支持。今天是2024年3月24号上午，这里是北京钓鱼台国宾馆。中国发展高层论坛2024年年会正在进行，今年的主题是持续发展的中国。3月份的北京还有一丝丝寒冷，但是也许过了中午，我们就能感受到温暖。这特别像人们对世界经济的感知，在寒意当中，大家都期盼着春天的到来。到底是什么样的信心，让我们一起来迎接世界经济的春天？是科技的突飞猛进，是中国宏观经济的强大韧性，还是中国市场的巨大潜力？2023年，中国直接使用外商投资金额下降了13.7%。有一种声音说，中国已经不再是外商直接投资的重要选项。事实，真的是这样。今天我们就要专访几位来自不同国家、不同领域跨国公司的主要负责人，来听一听他们站在全球化视角怎么来看待中国经济发展给他们带来的新机遇。非常感谢能接受我们的采访。我们知道您有一个中国名字叫赵国华，就这个名字听起来呢就特别中国。这个名字是谁给您起的？有什么特殊的含义吗？
So the story with my name is dates back to 30 years ago. I came here in China to start with a team of people, Schneider. At that time we were 10 with a small factory of 100 people. Today we are 28,000 people. So it's in 94. And I just arrived in China. We spent the dinner finding my name, and they chose my name. I've been Zhao Guohua, and many people call me Lao Zhao, because in the meantime, I got more experience and older.
您最喜欢的中国味道是什么？
辣的。
辣的。
我喜欢四川菜。
如果让您挑一个您最喜欢的一道辣的菜，您会选哪个？
担担面。
担担面啊，啊，特别辣都能接受，
能接受。
那您特别适合在中国生活，可能其他的世界上其他的很多国家没有这么辣的味道。我们知道施耐德在中国已经有30多年的发展历程，您的公司的名字叫施耐德电器，可能我们很多观众不知道这个电器的具体解释是什么，能不能您给我们举几个例子，就是我们生活当中跟电器相关的都是什么
？And we supply technology, and we are focused on two technologies. One is electrification, electricity, energy. So we provide a complete system which allow all of us to use electricity. And our technologies go from the electrical network, the grid, 中国电网, to every kind of usage of electricity in your home, in a building, in a data center for IT, for the cloud, in industries and in infrastructure. Number two, second technology is digital, because digitization for more efficiency. It's a combination of IoT, connecting everything around us, and then data, making sure that the data is consolidated, and then a lot of software to manage better smart buildings, smart cities, smart manufacturing, smart IT, and so on. So electrification for decarbonization, digitization for more efficiency, so that we help our customers to go for more sustainability, more energy efficiency, and less carbon emission.
我们知道施耐德在中国已经有30多年的发展历程。现在国际上呢，有很多企业，把一些产业搬离中国，比如说搬到南亚、搬到东南亚。施耐德怎么看待这样一个现象
For us, China is very important. It's the second business of Schneider in the world. And China in itself is core to the world. It is 30% of the world industrial value chain. And China has been at the forefront of many energy transformation, solar panels, batteries, green energy, electric vehicle, a lot. China is a big manufacturing base for us. We have 22 factories. Many of those factories are considered as references in the world. Number three, it's a large innovation base. So we have, over the past 30 years, developed strong R&D centers with very competent people. We have also a lot of partners in China. We have 1,500 distributors. We work with technology companies. So it's a very important part of Schneider.
其实我们知道，刚才您也提到了，您在中国有很多工厂，在世界其他地方也有很多工厂。
对，
这些工厂之间的工作是怎么来分配的？他们在产业链的上下有什么具体的分工吗？
We have, at Schneider, we have this very strong principle that we should produce close to where we sell. So we have structured our company in what we call multi-hub. So different hubs, which are pretty autonomous. So you have the European hub, you have the North American hub, you have the China hub, you have the Indian hub. Those hubs have everything. They have their sales, their marketing, their R&D, their factories. But more important, so we work a lot with a lot of suppliers. So in China, from the beginning, we had this vision that we should design and produce locally, that you need to design very specific products, and you need to do it fast. Second, China is probably one of the most competitive markets in the world. Therefore, you need really to understand the needs of the customer, and you need to respond to those needs very fast. You cannot do that from remote. You have to do it locally. And you can be green only if you are pretty local, if you have short supply chains. So all of this means that we have a very regional supply chain, and this is not from the past 5 years. This has always been our strategy.
刚才您提到了有很多楼口，我们中国现在也在倡导绿色低碳发展。您觉得在这个过程当中，施耐德最大的改变是什么
Our technologies serve sustainability. And I said already, electrification for decarbonization, digital for energy efficiency, carbon efficiency, that our customers, 75% of what Schneider does today with customers is about sustainability solutions. With our employees, with ourselves, we've taken the commitment to be carbon neutral by 2030 and to be on our scope and to be carbon neutral by 2040, including our suppliers. Our solutions allow already our customers to save 1 million tons of carbon every year.
刚才您提到了施耐德在绿色低碳发展方面做的这些工作。最近呢，有一条消息，就是欧盟委员会提出要到2040年的时候，碳排放量要比1990年的时候减少90%。我们知道施耐德刚刚您讲的这些施耐德要做的碳减排的方案，比这个标准好像还要再高一些。
Schneider, by 2040, it's an objective that many companies, countries, people have now, because we all realize that climate change is a global challenge. It doesn't have a border. The climate change is affected by what happens in France or what happens in China. So we need to work together to find solutions. We work a lot with emerging countries, or I call them new economies. 50% of our business is in global south. And in many of those countries, many people don't have access to electricity. So we are helping 50 million people in the years, in those years, to get access to green electricity, and we train young people to become electricians to serve their community. So we have multiple examples of collaboration with Chinese companies to reduce carbon. We work with large industrial companies in the chemical domain, in the food and beverage domain, to get more efficient, get more productive, and at the same time cut their carbon footprint. And we do that in a number of infrastructures also. Will it be airports or subways and those kind of things. We help our customers to connect everything so that they know what is happening. And when you have the data, then you have the feeling where you waste or where you work properly. And based on that data, we use software, AI, together with our customers to detect the pockets of improvement, and based on that our customers can keep improving all the time, and we innovate together.
去年的时候ChatGPT 特别火，今年在中国的春节的时候 Sora 又特别火。您自己本人有关注人工智能吗？您最关注的人工智能领域是哪个呢？
So for us, artificial intelligence is really important because Schneider is really specialized in energy system for data centers. And because of AI, you have multiplication of GPUs, which are asking for a lot more energy. So today we are collaborating with all companies in the world to find solutions so that you can deploy AI at scale while not consuming too much energy. We deploy AI in each product so that they self-optimize and they self-improve. Then if you have a whole factory or a whole network, electrical network, a whole building, we use AI to improve the whole system. And then if you manage your whole company and you connect everything together, then we have again more capability provided by AI. We use AI and generative AI so that people can design their electrical system or their factory, and AI will propose solutions.
很多人都担忧人工智能的高速发展的过程当中能源消耗太多了。
人工智能和能源能效没有矛盾。Actually, the best way to be more efficient and to cut energy consumption is to use digitization on AI. And today, the energy consumption of AI is very small. It's only 2% of the world energy consumption, the whole of IT, right? Only 2%. While you can cut the consumption of buildings by 10 to 30%. You can cut the energy consumption of a factory by 10 to 50%. So on one side you will consume 2%, on the other side buildings are 40% of energy consumption, industry 40% of energy consumption, and you can reduce that energy consumption by a lot, probably 20% more, 20% of the total energy consumption. So 2% for the digital and probably 20% of energy savings. So the net is enormously positive.
那听了您的这个解释呢，可能很多人这个担忧就降低了一些。最近几年呢，中国在很多领域也在快速的发展，比如说电动汽车，比如说光伏等等等等。您有没有看好的中国的发展领域？
I think China is bringing a lot to the green development of the world by bringing solar panels, by bringing batteries, by bringing electric vehicles. Of course, China is not the only one, but China is big, very big in those sectors. What we do is that we work and we collaborate with those leading companies in that space, and we make sure that our solutions incorporate those solutions and they leverage those solutions to provide complete solutions to our customers and for the greater good of making our planet more sustainable. So I would say, taking something which has been a word which is very popular in China, I think it's about sharing your prosperity, not only in your country, but also around the world. And with that, it's a story of culture. That means companies which are successful internationally must have a very inclusive culture where they welcome the differences of origins, the differences of gender, and the difference of thinking. And we are trying to do that at Schneider. It's a never-ending journey. Building that community of people who work together to the same objective is probably the most important task and mission of a leader.
在今天的会场内外，我听到了很多类似于这样的声音，比如说中国有巨大的市场，有稳定的环境和完备的产业链优势，这些都是外商投资中国、世界投资中国的信心所在。中国的创新环境也是外资企业重要的信心来源。在全球创新指数排名当中，中国排在第12位，是前30名当中唯一的中等收入经济体。以去年的 ChatGPT 为代表和今年的 Sora 为代表的人工智能大模型火爆出圈，创造了很多相关上市公司的市值神话。光是英伟达一家上市公司的市值数据就已经可以排在全球国家 GDP 排名的前10位。其实科技的创新和进步并不是一蹴而就的，它源于不断的积累和迭代。对于未知的未来，我们想象当中的未来，它真的会来吗？外资企业做了哪些准备？中国又将为科技的迭代升级提供哪些加速度？继续来听听他们是怎么说的。Nice to meet you. Welcome to our interview.
Thank you.
在今天上午的时候，您聆听了李强总理的主旨演讲，有没有哪一个细节给您留下特别深刻的印象的
？It was very interesting this morning to hear the speech, how the quality development of China is continuing with a new term of new quality productivity forces. And that's a very good term because that means technology will play a much more important role for China's development, which is perfect for us because we are doing Invented for Life. That's our ethos, and this fits very well to the plans now going forward.
说到科技呢，我们都想到，在今年的时候，您跟埃隆·马斯克有一个交流。您本人是不是对科技特别感兴趣？
Yes, we are a tech company and we work with modern tech, and it was a very good exchange with Elon because Elon Musk has a specific idea about how artificial intelligence will play a role, and we both are very bullish on this technology because we think it will change a lot in this world.
我看到媒体有很多相关的报道，有没有什么媒体没有报道的细节，只有你们2个人知道的，愿意跟我们分享一下吗？
Well, Elon is of the opinion that every 6 months the knowledge of AI is tenfolding. That's a very progressive estimate. But if you think about it, in the last year and a half, a lot of new technology came in through the language models, which first just dealt with language, then it started dealing with pictures, and now you can even do movies with language models, and that's fascinating.
我们还看到，博士要和微软一起来联合搞自动驾驶，但是呢，博士用的是生成式人工智能 AIGC。您觉得生成式人工智能未来会对汽车产业产生什么样的影响？
Yeah, the idea of large language models is that you have a lot of things already in the model. So the model already knows that this is a bottle, that this is a flower, and therefore you can first time not learn by using data, but you can extract from the language model data. So you can use it as a kind of artificial oil mine, or oil well, because we had this thing that we thought that data is the new oil of the next century, and now we have the large language models that can produce data for us. And what we do is, for example, we generate from few pictures which we have from a car driving through a landscape. We can, with language models now, see much better what is on the picture. What is the scene? Is it a dangerous scene? Is it a dense scene? Is it an easy to drive scene? And that's very important for us if we want to automate. Because with the current technology, we only go picture by picture by picture and analyze always everything which is on the picture, and with this large language model technology, we can do a complete different approach.
您觉得未来人工智能哪一个领域最有可能会实现？或者说，您现在最关注哪一个人工智能的细分领域的发展？
Well, we have 2 areas where we use it maximum. One is, let's say, 3 very important ones. One is for the development itself. So for the internal developer, they use AI for better coding, for better software writing. Yeah, that's good for them. They use it as a tool. Yeah, then we have the AI which is going into the functions, as I mentioned, for example, for this automation that you recognize with a camera all objects on the street, and you can do the right driving when you do automated driving for safety of your driving. So the car can help us not making a crash even if we do a mistake. For example, with the braking system on a slippery road. So if something happens, we correct a bit and you are not sliding off the curve. And then obviously in production. In manufacturing, a lot of the factories here in China from Bosch are the most modern factories we have. And in these factories is lots of AI applications for quality checks, for super monitoring the complex machinery which we have there. So we will see AI anywhere. Plus we have it in the interaction with our customers. Yeah, because our customers talk to the vehicle, they talk to our consumer service lines, and that is also AI driven.
人工智能特别的火爆，然后很多企业呢 all in AI。我们知道很多中国的企业也特别关注人工智能。你们和中国的一些合作伙伴有过沟通和交流吗？他们关注的是什么？
Well, that's great. In China, there's a whole ecosystem of players who use AI on a quite advanced front. Really, the newest AI is really available and researched and also applied in China. So we work with WeRide, for example, to automate driving. And we have lots of other partners who are working with us on AI applications, because that's in the driving in city with maps or without maps. That's exactly what you need. You have to apply AI technology, otherwise it's impossible. So in China, it's a great ecosystem you can work with, and we are used in China to work with partners because it's much faster.
但是呢，中国这个市场呢，可能很多人都知道，尤其在电动汽车这个领域，竞争特别的激烈。在汽车零部件生产当中呢，很多零部件的供应商集中在中国。我们看到前博士中国区的负责人也说过一句话，说可能呢，在智能驾驶、电动智能座舱这个领域，可能博士会遇到中国的竞争对手不少于200家。你们想没想过跟他们一起来合作？有没有什么成功的合作模式可能会出现？
Oh yes, there is lots of partnerships also in the supply base. So also with other suppliers we are partnering. For example, if we build a computer system for the interior computation, very often we have software partners who do the software, which is then running on the screens. And that's a good reason for that, because the computer we have to build in a very high volume, very large scale. The computer has to be always reliable, has to be a very good, reliable product, easy to use. The software is changed very quickly, because especially in China, people require quick updates, if possible monthly or quarterly, and that is very good to do with a Chinese partner. Now for us, China is a very, very important market because it's so big, it's so dynamic, it's so electric. That means it's advanced. We have a lot of advanced components and products here in China, but we also have increased with our 58,000 people now here, right? And growing. And we are growing specifically not only in production now, but also in R&D, in software, in AI. China is transforming from a mass production market and a mass consumption market to a knowledge generation market, to an innovation market, and that's what we like.
其实我们知道，在很多科幻作品当中，汽车都是一个经常出现的一个原型。我们说到智能驾驶，有些人说呢，智能驾驶可能未来就是汽车自己去驾驶，还有人说呢，可能是一个人形机器人去驾驶。您觉得哪一种场景最有可能出现？
Well, we will see. The dream of all engineers, and I think also from all of us, is that we just sit in the car and the car is driving alone. And we can then work with our mobile phones or something else and relax and just have... On the other hand, we know it's not that easy, right? We have seen that we were all a bit too optimistic, so it needs a longer time to really get done. However, we now see this level 2 assistance, so where we are helped by the car in driving, that's already in 300 car platforms. We put it in 300 car platforms in China in the last years. Yeah, if we talk about level 2++, that is now coming, and you see it in first vehicles. We have put it into a Chery vehicle for with a partner Chery, right, for the highway, and it is now coming for also in-city driving, and it will also come in the next year with mapless driving. So you see that step by step now the automation is getting better and better. The question is, will we have them for a price that is reasonable so that people really want to buy it? If it becomes too expensive, it will not happen.
其实我们现在世界经济遇到一个问题，就是增长的速度呢没有以前这么快了。那么呢，对于一家企业来说呢，我们既要保证供应链的稳定，也要保证市场能有足够广阔的空间。博士在这方面有什么成功的经验吗？或者说对未来有什么具体的目标和期待吗？
Well, you have to be in the markets with designers, with research people, with production, so very near to your partners. That's very important. And second, obviously, you have global supply chains, yes, but you have to also look always carefully, is there local supply chains? Because if I find a very good local supply chain, better use it. Yeah, you want probably a backup, another global source where you have a second source, right? That's important. But always be careful that you have also local supply chains in Europe, in America, in China. And in China, that's the good thing here, you have pretty much for nearly everything a local supply chain. Yeah, and that's good. Because it's not only us who design what finally goes into the car. No, it's the manufacturer, the car manufacturer, but it's also our suppliers. They have also ideas, and we have to leverage all of these ideas and all of this power to bring it to the optimal cost into the vehicle, because the vehicle market is very competitive. That's what we know. So we have also to do whatever we can with our partners to bring the right product into the right car.
我们看到现在在电动车的发展过程当中呢，欧美的一些企业明显放慢了电动车发展的速度，但是中国的电动车生产企业依然在突飞猛进的发展。博士，未来的电动车产业会以中国为中心吗？
Yeah, one of our main production centers for electric vehicle components is in China. And guess what? It's rapidly expanding. So we are continuously investing to extend the capacity. And on the other side, obviously, we also have the other components for electric vehicles, because electric vehicles also need a braking system, they also need a steering system, they also need an airbag controller, they also need a lot of electronic systems, which obviously we also want to supply. So we have then other manufacturing sites and partnerships for that. We see now much more exports going from China to global markets. Now that's our specialty. We know all these global markets, so we can help a lot to also do these exports right. Because for the global markets, you need then also maybe a bit different vehicle which fits to the standards than in Europe, for example, or in Latin America. And that is possible with a partnership with us, because we have already factories in all these markets. And that's a lot of fun, by the way, because so far we have seen a lot of European companies acting and building in China. I think in a very near future you will see a lot of Chinese companies acting and producing also in the global markets.
据制药喝摘要，对话由赤水河上游贵州金沙高端酱酒摘要酒独家冠名播出。中国的人口规模超过了14亿，国内生产总值超过了126万亿，这些都为企业的创新落地提供了广阔空间。就在今年3月，国务院办公厅印发了关于推进高水平对外开放的行动方案，提出扩大市场准入、优化公平竞争环境、促进内外资企业合作等等，这些都为外商投资企业提供了更大的吸引力，提升了他们的获得感。在今年的政府工作报告当中提出，要继续缩减外资准入负面清单的规模，全面取消制造业的外资准入限制措施等等，这些都让外资看到了在中国发展的新机遇。在另外一个重要的行业和领域，中国又将为外资企业提供什么样的新机遇呢？继续来看。您好，首先欢迎您来到中国，我们非常感兴趣您的名字石道成，这个名字是您自己起的吗？它有什么特别的寓意吗？
I got some help from my great Chinese team, and I thought they have hit it very well. I'm very proud of my Chinese name. It's 3 words and it hits quite well. Well, that's for you to judge. I don't speak Chinese, but the three names hits well with what we tend to stand for and what I stand for. So we are an extraction business. We are providing materials to the world. But it's also about how we do things. It's about the values, and it's about ability to make things happening, but do it in the right way. And I thought the name was catching that very well.
您这是第几次来中国发展高层论坛？
So unfortunately, I have only been here physically twice, but I have also attended it virtually. I must say, I much prefer to go here in person. It's impossible to get the full value out of it when you participate remote, but that was how the world was a couple of years back, unfortunately.
这一次您来到中国发展高层论坛的时候，您更关注的焦点是什么？
I'm always interested in understanding the latest development in China. You've just had the 2 sessions, and I'm here to try to figure out what is really the conclusions, what does it mean for the development of China. So it is a unique opportunity as a foreign leader to come to China and get a sense for where should we put our focus.
我们知道力拓集团到今年已经超过150年的历史了，也是世界上最大的矿业企业。您曾经说过一句话：没有中国的市场就没有今天的力拓。您为什么这么说？力拓和中国市场到底有多紧密的联系？
Yeah, I think the way to look at Rio Tinto, we are 150 years old. The first 50 years we were a European company. The next 50 years we became global. And the last 50 years has really been about the Asian growth. It started with a very strongly growing Japanese economy, South Korea. And now, over the last at least 40 years, the development of China has been second to none. And we wouldn't be the business we are today unless we had the Chinese market to serve.
力拓集团是一家矿业企业，它有很多的中国客户。它不光是一个销售矿产品的公司，还和中国的一些企业来共同开发矿业资源。为什么你们会选择中国企业？到底是什么吸引了你们？
Rio Tinto is really a long-term company. And what I like here in China is that Chinese leaders also think very long-term. So it has turned out very well. We were the first company to set up a big foreign joint venture in China in 1986 with the China joint venture. It's a good way for us of doing business. This kind of partnership and thinking long-term works well for us. We like to sell our products to Chinese customers, but when we can partnering with them, we think it's even better. And now, last year we started we're developing a new mine in Western Australia, Western Range with Baowu, and we are about to finalize the development of the big project that we're launching now, the Simandou project in Guinea, which will be the world's largest project. And quite frankly, we are lucky that we have 3 Chinese partners and ourselves. We can execute part of the project, they can execute another part of the project. We learn from each other, and I think together we are stronger.
从全球钢铁的需求量来讲，因为房地产和基建的一些增速没有以前这么快了，可能需求量出现了一定程度的下降。您怎么看待未来钢铁行业的发展？
We in Rio Tinto, we don't think too much in quarters, barely in years. We more think in decades. And but if you look at it last year, there was actually a decent growth. The Chinese steel mills were running flat out, and there was also more export. You're correct that the property market has gone through adjustments, but other manufacturing have actually been growing very strongly. So overall, we have seen a robust demand, and we expect that in the future. I mean, maybe you're not going to go back to the high growth rates from years back, because the Chinese economy has stabilized at a higher level, and therefore the long-term demand for steel in China will be intact. That's our working assumption, and all the indicators seems to support that.
刚才您提到了我们从这个高速的发展阶段到一个高质量平稳的发展阶段，您觉得未来钢铁需求的增长点会在哪儿？如果让您选择跟中国发生新的合作的机会，您会选择哪个领域？
We work with Chinese customers, and Chinese customers like Baowu is also going international. So the way I look at it is the world will keep on having a higher steel demand. Maybe it's not going to be so high as it used to be in China, but for the steel industry there's ample of opportunities. And I think the other thing that is important is that the steel industry has to reinvent itself, and focusing on high quality growth in terms of decarbonizing themselves. That's a massive challenge, and we can play an important and constructive role, partly in exchanging technology and partly in the type of iron ore that we can deliver to the steel mills in order for them to reduce their carbon emission. What we have seen over the last few years is that China very systematically are addressing climate change and therefore are building this new energy system of solar, wind, hydropower, expansion of the grid, because it's basically about electrifying society, and that includes building EVs, and that's seen at a scale that hasn't been seen anywhere else in the world. So that's most encouraging in terms of addressing the climate, but it also provides great business opportunities, and I believe that it really underpins the growth rate of China today.
我们知道采矿业是一个高污染的行业，你觉得你们的压力是不是更大了？
Yeah, we certainly do, but fortunately we laid out strategy for addressing climate change 2 years ago, and at that stage we said we have to reduce our carbon emission by 50% by 2030. So we are maybe amongst the miners who has the most aggressive program to cut emissions, and we're doing a lot at the moment. We are already having access to a lot of renewable energy, particularly in Canada. Now we are underwriting solar and wind projects to make sure that we use renewable energy everywhere where it's possible, and applying new technology. For example, we're the first miner to have a mine 100% on biofuels. We achieved that last year in one of our mines in the US. So we are aggressively pushing forward.
您能不能再给我们详细介绍一下您刚才提到的生物质的能源的减碳计划究竟是一个什么样的计划？
I think first of all we have to realize that biofuels is not going to solve all the problems in the world, because there's not enough biofuels. But it can help in a bridging period until you find other ways, for example, replace combustion engines with EVs. But I think we have to just be realistic and understand that biofuels can fill out something now, but we need structural solutions to completely remove emissions from engines.
其实我们知道中国也一直在努力实现低碳发展、节能减排。你们期待着中国的合作伙伴和你们一起能够做一些什么，能够共同实现我们低碳发展的目标？
So the biggest contribution we can do is to try to help our customers, because the steel industry is fundamental, I believe, for the Chinese economy, but is also a major part of the CO2 emission. But I must admit, I barely have seen more determined leaders than the leaders of the steel industry here in China. Big determination, and unfortunately there's not easy ways. And what we are doing right now is, together with our customers, we are pursuing a number of R&D projects, and some will fail and some will work, and I'm absolutely convinced we will find the solutions to remove CO2 from the steel making in an efficient manner.
力拓呢，在中国有很多的业务。力拓希望在中国进行哪些营业？
We are a private company and we make private investments, but fundamentally it's societal choices. And if we do business in an area, it needs to be for the benefit of the local community as well. It is actually part and parcel of having a long-term successful business.
我们知道您每年会来很多次中国，有没有每次来中国一定要去的地方？
I have to go to Beijing and Shanghai almost every time I go here. But what I'm trying to do is to see other parts of China as well. Last year, I went to the Guizhou province. I went to BJ to look at, we do some sustainability projects there. But it's just an opportunity to see the diversity of China and the beautiful landscape. I tell you, the mountain ranges in Guizhou is just unbelievable beautiful.
刚才您也说到了，您去年是来中国次数非常多的一年。您也说到您去过贵州和毕节，是去干什么？
So we have, with China Development Research Foundation, sponsored a sustainability project in the region, and support a number of things from renewable energy to early childhood development. It is important for us. China is, through our trade and our joint ventures, is giving us so much. So we do need to have a social conscience in this country as well. And it's kind of trying to find out how to address these things in the best manner, and then afterwards in China you can scale this project up much more across the country. So I think it's a project that is really worthwhile. It's something that can make a huge difference.